Hey everyone, and welcome back to BMX News. This is a weekly BMX news show where I talk about everything that happened in the previous week within the world of BMX that I think you guys might care about. That being said, there is not a ton of stuff to talk about this week for whatever reason, so I dipped into the archives and I found something that I think a lot of you are going to be psyched about if you didn't already know, and that is the movie RAD. Yes, the BMX movie from back in the day is actually online in full, available for anyone to watch for free, and the link to that as well as everything that I'm going to talk about today is in the description below in the order that I talk about it. So that's going to be the first link down there for you guys to check out. Next, I want to talk about the best fork in BMX, which is not just a claim. There is actual data and lab testing to prove it and back it up. This comes from Odyssey BMX with their 41 thermal technology that is also used on Sunday parts. This time the subject is the different forks that they offer and the Stampy fork test that they undergo to test them, which they also use on their competitors' forks, so all the other forks within BMX. And there's a couple that come somewhat close, but if you check out the graph in the video, you'll see that the 41 thermal processed forks that were tested did almost 300,000 more cycles than the next closest competition. This is literal numbers here. 624,000 cycles was the closest competition to the Odyssey and Sunday 41 thermal processed forks, which undergo 900,000 cycles. The graph also states the load that was used to test all of these forks, and the low end of this graph is 17,000 and 80,000. Clearly not something that you want to put on your bike when the alternative is something that when tested lasted legitimately approaching almost 1,000,000 cycles longer. That is why forks like the Odyssey R32 fork is so prominently known as the absolute best fork in BMX, and even people who ride for other companies still ride the Odyssey R32 or Odyssey R25 forks. That's all I'll trust to ride on my bike, and I don't know why anyone else wouldn't with results like this. I think that even a used R32 fork is probably better than some of the stuff that they test on here. And to cap it all off, all of the 41 thermal processed forks that they offer have a lifetime warranty. So if for whatever crazy reason you manage to break one, you're gonna get a replacement for free and they're gonna send it straight to you. So with that being said, in the Odyssey Sunday unsponsored ad out of the way, we can move on to the next thing that I want to talk about, and that is that Pumped BMX Trail Boss is now available. I haven't had time to try it out or even download it for that matter, but I know that it looks awesome and I know that there are a ton of people out there trying it. So let me know in the comments down below your experience and if you're enjoying it so far, because I'm really curious and I want to know if it's worth the price to download it and taking the time to play it. And that brings us into the sponsorship news from this week. The first thing here is a video from Subrosa introducing Lewis Otto. And if you like street riding whatsoever, you're gonna enjoy this one because this kid absolutely sends it. And if saying that isn't enough for you, you gotta look at this thumbnail right here from the video. That's his last clip. He got worked on it, but he made it happen and it is nuts. That is a gigantic gap. There's a ton of other big gaps and drops and some technical stuff in there. And one clip that I was really impressed by that I don't know if a lot of people are going to catch on to how hard it probably was is a sidewalk to sidewalk road gap that he did a crank flip over. If you can do crank flips, you know that it's really hard to go really far or really high while doing a crank flip, just because of the nature of taking your foot off in the trick and not exactly being able to pop a bunny hop as high or as far as you normally could. So that was one that really impressed me, and I think that you'll probably enjoy this video. After that, we had some news that Tom Van Den Bogaard is now on Vans Pro. And if that name doesn't ring a bell for you, it's probably because a lot of people say that Tom is one of the most underrated riders in BMX, but being on Vans Pro means that you're definitely not underrated. And if it didn't ring a bell for you, there's a link in the description to a Vital BMX page welcoming him to Vans Pro and showing a video that they did with him in 2017. Next up is contest and jam news. The first thing here is a video that was uploaded recapping the backyard jams from 2002 to 2004. I know that a lot of you guys are going to be psyched to see this one because you remember when it actually happened. The thing about this video though that kind of sucks is that it's got copyrighted music in it that YouTube muted, so there's only bits and pieces where you get audio in this one. Either way, all of the insanity of the riding is still there, and I know that you can still enjoy it. And honestly, how many of you probably watch videos today on mute because you don't like the song anyways? And then after that, we had a recap video from this Woodyard's Woodyard Trail Jam, so there's something for the trail guys out there if you want to check it out. After that, we can start talking about videos from this week, and I just finished up watching this first video, and the end of it's honestly hilarious. So this video is from Jack Seeley. It was uploaded to our BMX YouTube page, and it's called In the Sticks, and it's a video of him at Woodward East, which that perfectly describes Woodward East, in the sticks. That place in the middle of nowhere. But the end of this video has him doing a 540 down a pretty big stair set, and after he lands it, I've never seen a rain of shoes thrown at someone like this before. There must have been like 50 shoes just thrown at him after he pulled it, including a couple helmets. But this video, honestly, if you're gonna make a must-watch list from this week, this is the one to add to the top of that list, because there is so much great stuff in this one. And I had no idea so many people had the crank flip bar spin on lock so well. He did one off of a rail ride and in a 90 over a pyramid hip in here. I've seen this kid on Instagram, the Jack Seeley, for just about ever now, but I never really checked into how good he was at riding. I followed him on Instagram as soon as I watched this video because holy crap, it is really good. Then after that, we've got a video with Alec Siemon from Sunday Bikes called Units Worldwide, and this is another one of those videos that, if this is the level of the videos that we see today, it's just bringing it that much higher. And the thing that I thought was so crazy about this video is that there's so many clips in here that like could have ended with just the trick that he did, but then he lands on either the back or the front wheel and ends up doing something else out of it. It's just total insanity. The banger is included in that. And a couple standout clips for me for this one was the mini roof G-turn that he did. So he's going from parking lot to parking lot with a little mini roof in there that's slanted. And he does a G-turn down it to the drop. Then the other one is him doing some kind of crazy rail grind, rail down whip to fakie. Just so much stuff. This is the guy that, if you remember in one of the Sunday videos that they did recently, he did a nose manual up to down whip out of the nose manual. This guy's keeping up the craziness, and it's always enjoyable to watch something that's just taking things to that much higher of a level. Then we had a couple more videos that I thought were worth mentioning, but I didn't want to talk super in depth about. The first is called A Day with Hyper at Woodward West. Clearly you know what that means. Then we've got Demarcus Paul's website who shall not be named headlights video part up online as well. This was the ender part from the video, and holy cow, if you guys remember the review I did on this one, every single thing about this video was awesome, from the B-roll to the editing to the song to the riding. It all just went together to make one amazing video part that is now online for anyone to watch. From there, we can move into a couple different bike checks that happened this week. So the first one is with Enarson, and it is a travel bike check. He's basically talking about his bike and how he puts it into his bike bag and just different travel tips, as well as going over the parts on his bike. The thing that I loved about this video is that he was just honest in it. It wasn't the whole, well, I've got this part, but I don't really know what its geometry is. I just know that they gave it to me, so I have to ride it, even though I might like something else. It was him saying literally, I ride this because I support this person, and he talked about a couple different parts on his bikes that he rides instead of parts from his sponsors because he wants to support the people who those parts have to do with. I just thought this one was super awesome, and clearly it's because it's Enarson and he's at the level where he has signature parts that are exactly what he wants to ride. But regardless, this was a good bike check, and normally I don't talk this much about bike checks. After that, we've got a video from Adam Banton called Freestyle Check, and that is exactly what this one is. If you guys didn't know, Adam recently started riding a Nowhere BMX frame and setup, and he seems to be really enjoying it so far, and he's doing a lot of really awesome stuff on it. And this Freestyle Check was one of the best put together bike checks that I've seen in a while. He's another person who's just being honest about things, and he's putting it together in a creative way because that's just Adam Banton. After that, we had one more bike check. This was a photo bike check, and it came from Sunday Bikes with Brett Silva. And that brings us into the product news from this week. We've got two different frame videos to talk about. The first is called Dan Collar Rides His Signature Contender Frame, and it comes from Kink. Obviously, they make his signature Contender frame, and he kind of talks a little bit about some of the stuff to do with the frame and just has some riding in there and gives some insight a little bit more into the frame itself. And it's kind of just a little bit of a promo video for the frame. I know that most or all of the clips that are in this video have been in other videos before, but it said at the beginning of the video that he's in California working on a project, so I hope that that is current and that he's all healed up from his injuries that he sustained during the X Games Real BMX contest that he was in. And after that is a promo video from Power's Bike Shop for the FBM Paradigm frame that just came out recently. This is FBM's street-orientated geometry frame, and this is a promo video that I think is actually pretty interesting. It's got some ominous voiceover in it that when you first hear it, it feels like it's some kind of like audio grab from like a movie or some kind of weird video or something, because it's really ominous and deep and just sounds like a cult leader talking or something like that. And then they start specifically talking about the Paradigm frame in that voice. So somebody put a lot of work into making this video, and honestly it was pretty enjoyable to watch. And that's going to be it for this week's BMX news video. If you enjoyed and you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below. Check out the playlist right here to check out this insane new free coaster that is out and all of the videos that I have about it. If you enjoyed and you have anything you want to comment on, leave it in the comments down below. Let's start a conversation, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for another video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.